Welcome to the HiddenTracks podcast. My name's Shane Murphy, your host for this podcast. As always, you can find us on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you basically find your podcasts. When you listen, please give a nice 5-star review, like, subscribe, all that good shit. Let's get the word out there for all these bands that we're talking to these days. We're still in trying times in the world, and we just want to help everybody and be better people and help people survive. So let's just do that. Today, I'm very excited to have a great band here by the name of Exit, New York-based band. Don't like to, if you listen to this, I don't really like to label bands or genre, but we have to, so they fall in somewhere, so you know what to expect a little bit, I guess. So I would say they're more of a pop punk, power pop, just a great rock band. Let's call it that. So today I have Andrew Manning and TJ Piccirillo from Exit. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hey man,
hey, thanks for having us, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate the music you're putting out as well. And we're going to start very simply, and whoever wants to go first, you can go first. How are you guys as a band dealing with the era that we live in right now during, pandemic-wise, and putting out music and trying to sustain life as a band?
I mean, I don't want to say it's kind of like helped our band, but we've had a lot more free time on our hands to actually be able to send stuff back and forth because we don't live too close to each other. So it's kind of made things almost a little easier than it's been in the past because we've had a little more home time to record and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's actually, in a weird way for us, been kind of a blessing because in the year or so prior to this, we all have very busy lives. We have other commitments outside of this band. So I didn't really have much time to spend working with these guys and working on music in the year prior. And it's been great in 2020 to kind of get back into it with them and rediscover sort of our passion for working on music together. But in terms of the way our band operates, I mean, I've been telling people, like, it's not that much different than we operated previously. Like TJ said, we live fairly far apart from each other, not like an hour or two drive. So we've kind of always operated remotely anyways in terms of songwriting and everything like that. So nothing has changed that much for us, but certainly we've had more time in the past year to work on new music.
And when it came to, I mean, were you guys touring at the time that things kind of shit hit the fan, lack of a better phrase? Were you guys touring or planning a tour? Did you have stuff already set to go out, or what transpired there?
We haven't really played many shows as a band. We have like in our separate bands, but before we were Exit, because we knew each other from different bands, but we weren't really playing out, and we had recorded a little bit. Weren't really sure like what we were going to end up putting out. And then we just had all this time on our hands and we were like, oh, well, let's work on some stuff.
So, in 2017, you put out the EP Familiar Ground, and now you guys have been working on, I guess, what today's world is in just popping out singles. When you work on something, how have you been able to put that together, being far away and being quarantined and stuff?
Yeah, well, the cool thing about our band is that even from 2017, with that Familiar Ground EP, everything we've done has always been self-produced. So, it's kind of like I said, it's we've always worked like this. So, this past year, it's been a lot of, I typically do most of the production and engineering on my end, but it's kind of been, typically I start by writing music and instrumentals first, and then, we're TJ, Will, who's not on the podcast right now, and myself will go back and forth when it comes to, putting the top lines on the songs and vocals and things like that. And, just sending little voice memos back and forth for ideas and things like that. So it's definitely a little bit tedious. Like, things take probably 2 or 3 times as long as they would if we were in a room together. But I think it's worked out really well for us, actually.
Yeah, I think the single game is kind of working in our favor at the moment, because be like having all the songs self-produced, it like we take forever to finish stuff, so we can kind of just put it out one by one as we're done with it and see what happens.
Yeah, it gives you the flexibility. You don't have somebody on your ass all the time saying, hey, we need to get this out right away. Exactly. And also in today's world, I mean, the way we have to look at it, and I've talked about it plenty of times here, is you got to stay in someone's feed. And I think where we are now, Kanye started it, and Drake, when they're dropping albums every week, but dropping that single to stay in someone's feed is kind of important in today's world, because we all have ADD and we are always looking for something new. So, I mean, you guys were in bands previous to this, and did you start to formulate prior to that to see where the world in music was going? Because for me, I'm an old timer. I'm an old guy, and I love the full album thing, but I also get it now that it can't be that because it goes away so fast. Were you prepared for this, or was it just something that was easy for you to fall into?
Yeah, I'm kind of like in the same boat as you are in terms of being nostalgic for the idea of putting out full albums. Like that's just because that's always how I've consumed music and thought of music being released. But I
always thought there was a story to an album. That's
yeah, for sure. But it's like I think I'm starting to adjust to the new reality of what the music industry is becoming, and I think TJ mentioned this before. The single model and strategy, I think, has been really beneficial for our band. And we're like, he also said, we're pretty slow. So, I mean, if we, only put things out as part of an album with like one single prior, I mean, it'd be years in between releasing music.
Some of them just come really quickly, and then some other. I mean, the next song that we're putting out, if we had been waiting for the song to put out an album, we would be waiting like 2 years for an album. So
it's not an exaggeration.
It works in our favor.
Yeah. So with the music that you're playing, who do you guys use as influence? Because I hear a lot of tinges from a lot of different influences in there, but do you have main influences that you follow, or you follow the guidelines of? I know everybody stands on their own, but as a musician, you always steal a little bit of something because that's what you're familiar with. And then you try not to fall into that category or around that realm, but there's always a little something there. And I always think in the end, it's actually good. Do you guys have major influences that you pride yourself in being like, we can do this just like they did?
I steal nothing. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, I mean, it varies, so when I was, when we're working on Familiar Ground in 2017, I can tell you I was listening, when I was working on that album, I was listening to a lot of pop punk music, new and old. So I can tell you a couple of the big influences for me when I was putting that album together were The Story So Far and then Reliant K, which are two like kind of different era pop punk bands. But that's what I was listening to a lot. And then as we've progressed, I've kind of noticed that I don't necessarily, like, I used to sit down and be like, I want to write this type of song, or like, oh, I love this by this band, like I want to do something like that. Now I just kind of, it comes a little more naturally now, which I think is a good thing. It kind of helps us have our own unique sound and style. But
maturing as an artist is basically what it is, and it really is a process. I think when all bands first start out, it is when you start to mature, you can see the difference in music. And I mean, your singles that have come out have all been slightly different from each other, which I immediately noticed. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're growing, and that's what artists need to do, and it's awesome to see that.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's, I've had the actual concern before, like especially with these new songs. I'm like, will these fit cohesively into an album? Because they all sound like our band, but they're all pretty different tonally. But I think that's kind of the beauty of the way you can write and release music now, is that you have the freedom to, make whatever you want essentially. And
because it goes on a playlist now. That's why. I mean, that's what transpires, and I love the playlist formula. I really do, because it opens up to so many other things, and there's just so much out there, and it's really hard to stay on top of it. I mean, I'll listen to music 5 hours out of the day, but how many bands are there? You know?
Yeah, I agree. The playlist format has certainly helped our band a lot. That's kind of how we got any sort of traction on Spotify when we first started. We were lucky enough to get added to a couple of the bigger Spotify playlists, and they've been very generous to us consistently with all of our releases. But yeah, I mean, I've certainly discovered a lot of new music through playlisting. So I think it's great.
I think that kind of makes it easier for us to like experiment with stuff too, because you get put on somebody's playlist and they don't necessarily listen to your specific style of music. So if you put out a couple of things that are slightly different, somebody might gravitate towards it more than they would if they were just like, oh, this is a pop punk band, you know?
Yeah, and it brings them right to you, and they're like, okay, who is this? And then they seek out more. That's why I'm a seeker. I hear a song. First thing I do, and it's how I listen to you guys. I hear a song and I'm like, all right, who are these guys? And then I literally, okay, where's everything? Now I got to hear everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I want to dive into you guys a little personally here. I'm going to start with TJ. The same question will come to you, Andrew, when TJ is done. But there's a point in your life as a child where music changes, and where it changes is it's no longer Barney or Sesame Street or Disney soundtracks or cartoon theme songs, but it changes. You hear something pivotal at a point in your life that you're like, wow, what is this? This isn't what I'm used to hearing. Do you remember what that was, where you were, who you were with? If you have that time machine, which music usually creates, do you remember that point, TJ, or what you heard that changed your feeling on music?
I remember a couple different times. I grew up in like kind of a musical household. Like my sister plays, my dad always played guitar. And when I was younger, this might not be a cool thing to say on the podcast, but when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, like I loved stuff like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and like the pop songs that were on. And like, I just thought it was cool. Like I thought it was cool to be able to like sing and like perform. I just thought it was like just a cool thing. And then
you loved hooks.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know. I was just like mesmerized by it. And I was like, I have to hear this song again. And then as I got older, I ended up meeting other people. I started like skateboarding, like whatever. And I met a kid up the street from me. He's like, dude, like you should be listening to this, and showed me like all these punk rock bands. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. We would like watch skate videos and stuff, and all the music in them would be like this eclectic mix of stuff, like hip hop, even like old, like soul, like 70s soul kind of stuff. And like, it kind of just opened my eyes. Like you can pretty much do whatever, you could be whoever you want in music, and just decided to start a band one day just for fun.
Well, that punk rock phase is definitely there. I mean, I grew up listening to, in my day, it was probably New Kids on the Block. But I mean, yeah, your teenage years, I fell right into punk rock. I was like, what is this? And it's funny how it fills people's lives that way, because I think everybody at that same point feels the same way, which is they don't know how they feel. And punk rock is kind of like that. So falling into that is usually a natural progression, I think, in life in general, to falling into that portion.
Yeah, it just made it like so much more accessible to me, because I didn't realize like you could just do it. Like you could just pick up a guitar and like find some kid to play drums in their garage, and like eventually maybe record something. I don't know. I just made it tangible to me.
3 chords and the truth, right? That's how that's
right.
A song. That's how you get a song made. 3 chords and the truth, and there you go. You're a musician.
I do have to say I was fortunate though, because I grew up around musicians, so like there were instruments available. Like when I wanted to start learning guitar, I could be like, Dad, can I play your guitar? And he'd be like, oh yeah, absolutely. So I was fortunate in that way to not have to go seek it out too much.
How about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm kind of like the polar opposite of TJ. I did not come from a musical family at all. So like I didn't have, like, my parents aren't musicians or into music, and So I didn't have them, like showing me records or playing me music that they loved growing up, really. So I don't exactly know like when the moment was that I decided that I wanted to get into music. I remember getting my first guitar when I was pretty young. I want to say I was in second or third grade. And then when I got it, I was like kind of focused on classic rock and that sort of thing because I didn't really know anything else. And then the first album for me that made me realize that like I want to do music and be a musician and produce and write songs was American Idiot when that came out in 2004. So I'm a bit younger than TJ and Will. So when that came out, I was like 9 or 10. And it really inspired me to start writing music and to want to be in a band. And yeah, I don't know. It's definitely tough to pinpoint like the moment when you realize that you like love music and this is your passion. I mean, there were like a couple albums, but that's the first one that immediately comes to my head. I remember kind of begging my parents to get it for me, and since I was young, they were kind of hesitant, because it had the explicit label.
Yeah. Thank you, Tipper Gore.
That was me with Enema of the State. That was with Blink.
Yeah, I mean that title alone would keep a parent from wanting to get you that album in the cover.
Well, I was a very lucky individual that I had an awesome little record store that I could go to, and the kid behind the counter just knew so much about music. It would literally shovel me stuff. And I remember when Blink hit, and I was like, wait, I know these guys. And I'm going through my CDs. I'm like, hey, they're not Blink 182. They're just Blink. I have the album right here. I got the CD right here. It's the same thing. And then I was like, wait, maybe it's not. And then it totally was. But I was lucky enough to have someone down the street who would just literally shovel me everything that said, not for resale. And I just opened my eyes to so much stuff. And to find music and find your own way in music it's a really hard thing to do. And especially as artists, I mean, it's got to be pretty hard to be confident in what you're doing all the time. I mean, do you guys, Andrew, I'll start with you. Do you second guess yourself? I mean, you guys say it takes you a while to put things together because you're so tedious. Where does the tediousness come from? Do you second guess what you're doing?
Yeah, all the time. I'm very like, I'm always very paranoid that I don't want to feel like I'm ripping off another band or anything like that. So I always like, I really want it to sound like it's something like I want people to hear the influences and hear the style of music, but I want it to feel like something different from all the other bands that I'm influenced by. So I think that definitely plays into why it takes us so long to get new music out sometimes.
Okay. So kind of like Tool, how Maynard Keenan has to go into 5 other bands because the other guys are so tedious in writing songs and have to have every note 100% perfect before they even think about coming together.
Yes, we are essentially Tool.
Awesome. See, there you go. I knew it was going to come out. I knew I would get it out of you.
Yeah, in style and level of success.
Exactly.
Cult following.
Yeah, 100%.
So, TJ, when you started to, you said you're just like, okay, I heard this stuff and now I want to start a band. I mean, a lot of times in life, it takes a lot of chutzpah, and we'll say it, to get up the nerve to do that, to round up a bunch of people, and then to think that you can actually even perform. I mean, what was that experience like for you when you're just like, I want to do this?
I mean, there was no like real incentive. So we were like, starting a band wasn't really like really quick. Like the first band that I was ever in was with this kid up the street who I just used to hang out with, and his parents would just buy him all this shit that he would ask for. He'd just be like, oh, like, can I get like the speaker set? And I'd be like, or his mom would be like, yeah, sure. So like he just had these like random musical instruments and all this stuff to make music. So he was just like, oh man, like want to start a band? And I was like, I guess. So I would just like come over and like I would skate to his house up the street and like we'd hang out, whatever. He wasn't really like a music kid. So, you know, it kind of just dissolved eventually. And then I was hanging out with another buddy of mine and we both like, we bonded over the same kind of music. Like we met in, I think like 8th grade or so, because we both found out that we liked Less Than Jake in the hallway one day. We were like, oh, dude, cool. And so we would just hang out over the summer and like listen to the same music. And he was like, you know, I think I really want to start playing bass. So he ended up getting a bass and we would just like sit in his basement and just like dick around for like, you know, 6 hours till like 4 o'clock in the morning and pass out on the couch and whatever. And eventually we were like, let's ask our friend to play drums. And so we would just go to his house and like say it was just really casual. Like that's how we like had an excuse to hang out. It's like still with like me, Andrew, and Will. It's like music is the excuse to just go do something, to like hang out and keep in touch. And like, I don't know. It just one day we were like, let's start writing like ska punk music. So we would just like sit in this kid's basement for 6 hours and just, you know, try to come up with something that we would listen to.
And then you hit the local talent shows at school with that stuff?
That came later. We, that was kind of embarrassing. we knew somebody whose mom owned a coffee shop, and it was really, really low key coffee shop, but we would start holding these punk rock shows there because we just asked her, we were like, can we like perform here one time? And she was like, yeah. So then we would just sell tickets at school. We would like, you know, photocopy flyers and like run around the school, like putting them up, handing them out to kids and be like, come see us. And we would just have this little like scene of, you know, a bunch of nerds like us who would show up and pack this coffee house at like, you know, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. And it was cool. It was fun. I wish stuff was still like that.
Yeah. That's where you get the rush, which is awesome.
My band in late middle school, you mentioned talent shows, and immediately made me think of it. We played "Killing in the Name" by Rage Against the Machine at our 8th grade talent show.
I can imagine how quiet the auditorium was for that.
You know, we came in 2nd place, which I'm still bitter about. But
who beat you?
We didn't have a vocalist, luckily, so there was no like "fuck you, I won't do what you do."
I was going to say, was Zach De La Rocha the judge? I mean, of that, if you're screaming.
Yeah, he was the judge, and he still gave us 2nd place.
He's like, yeah, you know, it's good, but it's not that good.
Yeah. It was funny. It's funny to look back on that, but who did we lose? We lost to like a kid who did like a karate routine or something, and he wasn't even there to accept 1st place. Like he had already left.
He was too cool for that.
I was hoping you were going to say you lost to Napoleon Dynamite. I've been like, well, I get it.
It's basically the same thing.
It's exactly what it is. It was the same kid.
Might have been.
And Cobra Kai's hitting really hard right now. So he was ahead of the game. You guys weren't. You know, there's so many musicians. There's not so many, you know, karate champs out there.
Yeah, it's true.
Could have gone down a different path.
Yeah. It's weird. I haven't approached him to be on the podcast yet. I got to find him.
Yeah, we should try to work karate into our music somehow.
Now you have to, kind of. I mean, now that it's out there that you came in 2nd place to a karate champ, I mean,
how hard
you got to work that in somehow.
Yeah.
Your next song should be called Cobra Not I instead of Cobra Kai or something, you know?
Totally. I think Baby Metal has a song called Karate. Maybe we'll just steal that.
So after coming in 2nd place, I mean, how did you have all that energy to continue to go on?
He was still bitter
than me for years. I don't know. I mean, it was when we, like all jokes aside, I mean, when we did, so that was in 8th grade. So I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. And the kids I was playing with were like my best friends. So it really didn't mean anything to us. I mean, we were having a blast, and those are the same kids that I ended up, you know, still playing music with throughout high school and whatnot. And ultimately that's how I met Will and TJ. So the Karate Kid didn't win.
Yeah, he didn't. You won the All Valley that year. So for you guys, I mean, as a band, where you see things progressing to when I mean, I can't tell you the date when things are going to get better, but when do you guys have plans to get out there and beat the street off of what you guys have already put out, or are you going to focus strictly on sticking to what you're doing and see what happens with that, or you want to get out on the road like so many other people I talk to?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, TJ said this before. We haven't played a lot of shows as this band, which has kind of been, we're essentially just three friends releasing music. You know, we're not like a traditional band in the sense that you might think.
Well, you sound like a band with your music.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I would love to start playing some shows again. I mean, in 2019, we essentially weren't really doing anything. In late 2018, we got offered a record deal that was it was a bad deal, and we didn't take it. And after that, I think we were all kind of a little bit disheartened, I want to say, because, like that's something you work for. It's like a dream you have as a kid to get a record deal. And when it doesn't work out the way you think, and us turning it down, we kind of think we needed to take some time away, and we kind of stepped away from this band for a while. And then when the pandemic hit, I finally kind of had time to sit down and start working on music again. And honestly, I forgot how much I loved it. So when all this is over, I would certainly love to start playing shows again, if possible. Who knows when that's going to be?
Yeah. And I think the whole record label thing. I mean, we're in such an awesome age where, with the DIY, you can get it done. I mean, you really can to get to the masses, and it only takes one song to reach that. And I think the days of bands chasing record labels, if there are bands still out there chasing that major label deal, it's, if you read all the autobiographies that I do of these musicians and watch all these documentaries, I don't think anyone's been like, yeah, that was a great deal to work with.
Yeah.
I think for us, I think the offer, when we realized that it wasn't that great, we were kind of struggling to like keep putting things out at that point. And you kind of, when you're going to be with somebody else like that, it's a lot of work. And especially if somebody else like that is relying on you, it kind of like, we thought it was kind of going to suck the fun. I'm speaking for myself, but like, I feel like we kind of thought that it was going to suck the fun out of it a little bit. And then when we didn't like break up as a band or anything. We were just like slow in doing stuff. And then once we had more free time, we were like genuinely doing it for fun. And it, I don't know, kept me sane during all that stuff. And like,
yeah, for sure. I remember literally one night, it had been quite a while since we'd done or communicated anything really, like as a band. Like obviously we still talk because we're friends, but I remember literally one night just texting Will in our band, because I was just like listening back to some of our old stuff and just being like, man, I really miss this. Like I miss, working on music with you guys. And Will is like the most impulsive, outgoing person in the world. So literally the next morning he had like studio time booked.
He texted me too on the side. I was like on my way home from work. I think he called me actually, and he was like, Andrew's had a couple glasses of wine. He's starting to talk about the band again. Like, would you be in? I'm like, yeah. I mean, if everybody's down, like, yeah, of course. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna book studio time. I don't want you to do
that. The strongest alcohol in the world is called nostalgia.
Oh, you're 100% right on that. It was like 1 a.m. I was completely sober, and I was like, God damn it, I miss this. And that's the good thing about having someone like Will in our band, because I think TJ's kind of the same way. I'm pretty like introverted, and having someone like Will who just will like make the decisions and be like, oh no, we're going to go do this, is a very good thing for us. So that's kind of how we got the ball rolling again.
An idea man and an action man is always good to have together.
Totally.
I try to be an action man. When one of my buddies has a good idea and I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea, I'll literally just take the ball and I run with it. I'm like, all right, somebody says, hey, we should probably do this. I'm like, all right, well, I got 4 tickets already, so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
Instead of everybody trying to figure out, oh, well, no, it was a good idea, so we're going to do it.
Sometimes it's hard for me to think of like how to actually execute something, and that's where Will comes in, like, very handy, because he's always he's so good at scheming things so quickly.
Yeah, Will is very, very smart when it comes to the business side of the industry. We're very lucky to have him.
Wow, shit, I guess he should have been on the podcast. I'm talking to the wrong 2 guys then.
Nah.
He still won't admit that he's... did he admit that he's in the band yet?
Yeah, finally, yeah. It's funny, like, we don't have, like, me and TJ were talking about this recently, when people ask us what our role is in the band. It's so not traditional in that sense. Like, Will is very much a part of this band in terms of being a member and, like, pitching ideas for songwriting and things like that, but
and getting shit done, from what I hear.
He basically operates like as our manager, is the way I think of Will, really. I mean, he's like so much more capable when it comes to the business side of the industry than TJ and I are. So it's funny. It's like our band is like a manager, and then 2 very opposite of that.
And I trust him so much more than I would like any kind of regular manager, because I know that he knows where we're both coming from when we say things, because we have had like a music history with him. So it like makes it easier to either tell him stuff or like have him know what we're trying to convey.
Yeah, totally. And he's also truly invested.
Yeah, for sure.
Part of it. So it not only comes down on 2 of his best friends, it comes down on him as well. So I mean, I totally get that.
And there's never hard feelings or anything if something's not working. That's the thing, is like, if this band sucked, it'd be fine. He could tell us, that'd be it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, honestly, to have someone like in the band who acts as sort of a band manager. It sort of cuts out that extra person. I think it's like very helpful and beneficial for us. And it's done a lot in terms of any of the sort of success that we've had and on streaming and anything like that.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad, there's the kick in the ass, because, you had some new singles drop that are amazing. And you also did some collaborations with that, with some great artists as well. I mean, if you were struggling to even know what you wanted to do, how did you, because if you're coming back with the stuff you're coming back with, like, that's basically hitting the ground running and like never looking to see what's behind you. How did all that come about?
In terms of like the collaborations and whatnot?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that would definitely be Will's influence for sure. I mean, so we put Familiar Ground out, which was, we didn't have any collabs on or anything like that. And I think Will was sort of had the foresight to understand that while, a collaboration can always benefit you in terms of the actual song itself, it can really help you when it comes to streaming and reaching a new audience. So we experimented with that a lot on our second EP, Too Little Too Late. We had 3 collaborations on there, and we noticed we had some pretty significant results from that. So that's something we're definitely trying to continue. And it's cool. Like, we're trying to reach out to people who are not necessarily in the same world or genre as us. I think we did a collaboration with Boy Band on one of our latest singles, who's much more in the hip hop world.
He's awesome.
And yeah, he's the man. And that's honestly, by far my favorite collaboration we've ever done. I think it made the song so much better. So that was a really, really great experience to get to work with him.
Yeah, and that's what I meant earlier when I said, like, I like hearing something different that I wasn't expecting when I was expecting a certain thing to come out.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, with someone like Boy Band, it's a different style of music, but it's kind of interesting. Like the lane that he's in, there's this wave in hip hop music that is very influenced by like early 2000s pop punk, even though it's got a totally different sonic quality to it. It's got a very similar like moody quality. So like someone like Boy Band who loves the kind of music we do, but is releasing stuff that feels more hip hop, it was really cool to get his sound on that song. And I like truly think it made the song so much better than it was prior. It gave it a really fresh, cool feel.
It did. And I feel like there was no like back and forth about like what we thought he should do. He just sent something and it was awesome. And we just went with it. Like he knew exactly
it was
what
like
we were going
immediate.
for.
So you guys just had a conversation and he just sent it to you and there it was. You're like, well, he nailed it. Let's nail our part.
Yeah, literally. Like I sent him the track and I think it was pretty close to being done. It just didn't have that second verse that he was in. And I sent him like a little like write up of, like what I thought he should write his verse about and things like that. And he sent something back and I was like thrilled with it. We didn't have any notes or anything. So it was a very easy process. And
it was interesting too, because the rest of the song was written except for that part and then the verse or the bridge. And I was in charge of writing the bridge, but after Boy Band did that, and I was like, I don't even know how to follow that. Like, it's this like punky breakdown kind of bridge, and he just did this cool, like, I don't know, like auto-tuney, like awesome e-boy thing, and I was like, what? How am I supposed to follow that?
Yeah, it's cool that it fits, like, because it's such like a, like I could almost say that that's the most straight up rock song we've ever put out, but at the same time, it feels the most modern and fresh, and I think that's largely because of Boy Band's collaboration in the second verse. But yeah, it was really cool to see how he approached writing something for that verse, because it was not what I ever would have come up with, and I actually ended up like tailoring the instrumental to what he did. The instrumental originally was all pretty straight up like rock based, and then when he sent the verse, I sort of reimagined it to fit what he was doing. Like there's a pretty brief straight up hip hop section in the second verse, and
got that cool trap beat
really,
in there.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how that song turned out, and I loved collaborating with him. It was awesome.
So with all that talk about that song, I'm going to ask a question now, and it could be the same for both of you. But TJ, you go first. What is your favorite song that you guys have recorded together so far?
Ooh, even older ones?
Yeah, even older ones. Your favorite song. It's like picking your favorite child. I know it's kind of hard. It's what I try to call this segment, pick your favorite child. But what's your, and you can have more than one, but, because I was my parents' favorite. I mean, my brother and sister probably too at some point. But I mean, what's your favorite song that you've done so far?
I'm curious here. I'm excited.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I have different memories for each of them, so they all have a special place in my heart, like my kids. But I have two. Our song "Material" that we put out fairly recently. That was actually the first one of like the new batch that we did. That we went actually. This is the only one that we went into an actual studio for, and it was a really cool one. We probably didn't record for another like, I don't even know, like at least like another 6 months or maybe even more since then. Or no, it was probably over a year till we recorded the rest of the stuff. But that was the first of like the new batch of things. And it was so cool to just be in the studio with each other with like, this song was like somewhat close to done, but we still had all these parts to like tweak and produce. And like, it was really cool to actually, we don't record and write stuff in the same room like ever. So to be able to sit down, it was much faster to just like spit out ideas and like actually like truly collaborate between the three of us. And that song holds a special place in my heart for that reason. And because Will played drums. And You're on Your Way, Kid, because that was like the reintroduction to us like constantly making music since about, when did we start redoing that? Like March or April?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like right when COVID hit and lockdown, I feel like it was maybe early April we started that one.
Yeah. So stuff got really shitty, and then things got better. It was awesome. We haven't stopped since. Lots of group texts.
Andrew, pick your favorite kid.
Yeah, I have such a hard time with this question. I do agree with TJ about Material. Like, I have such fond memories of working on that song because that's literally that's the only song for this band that was not self-produced.
Yeah, I can also step back from this too because like Andrew produces everything except for that. So like I don't want to say they're his song. They're his songs, and we kind of just like fill in the blanks and like supplement. But like I get to be a fan of the band. So like, it's like one song of I don't want to like offend Andrew by not liking any of the songs, and I don't like any of the songs, but or I don't, you know what I mean. But it's cool to like be a fan of it, so I have a totally different take than Andrew might.
Yeah, it was very. I think like making Material was a very important experience for us in terms of like getting things moving again with this band. I think not producing it was very helpful for me. But in terms of favorite tracks, I'll give you one from each of our releases, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think from the first one, I'll have to say Familiar Ground, just because that is the first song that we released and started working on for this band, and that I worked with Will on. And I still to this day think it's one of our best songs. And from our second album, Too Little Too Late, I really love the opening track, See You Around, which we didn't release as a single, but maybe was one of the quickest songs in terms of the writing process that we've ever done. And that was kind of the first one that I really worked with TJ a lot on, which I love. Like, TJ sings the verses on that song, and I think it adds so much personality to the track. And then of the new ones, I think Bad Intentions is probably my favorite. I'm really proud of all the new stuff we've been putting out, and there's a couple more we have in the pipeline that I really love. But Bad Intentions is one of the first songs for me that when I listen to it, like I can fully step away from it and almost feel like I'm listening to someone else's song, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of times when you listen to your own music, you're like hypercritical of it. But I'm really proud of that one, and I listen to it now like almost as if I'm hearing a different band, because it has a lot of different sounds than what we normally have done. So yeah, I love that one.
Awesome. You got three great kids there.
Yeah.
And it also lends credence to what you're doing, that you have two people, part of the band, with different favorite things that you've done, and it gives other people the opportunity to try and figure out why they're your favorite. And that's why I love that question. Someone listening to this will go listen to the songs and they'll be like, oh, I can see why he thinks that one is. And then, it's a good thing. And you are going to be hypercritical of course, everything you do yourself. I'm hypercritical of everything I say on this show, but it is what it is. And you gotta, it's out there, and it's for someone else to grab onto. We like to say, when it comes to music, everybody takes ownership of your stuff. Even though you wrote it, Andrew, guess what? I take ownership of your material once it goes into my ears.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, we were talking about the single model before. Like, I approach every song as if it's going to be a single. So that's why it's kind of difficult to pick a favorite, because I approach them all as if they're going to be like the best song this band has ever released.
All right. So TJ, on to picking another favorite child. Who is, you're allowed to have more than one. This is definitely one of the broadest questions to ever put out there. And you're not allowed to say the Beatles because whatever, but who's your favorite band of all time? And you can have more than one, because I literally have like three, and because it's from different genres, but it's favorite bands of all time.
I do have, depends on mood always, but
yeah,
I'm sick of saying this. Less Than Jake is my favorite band. They've always been, I have a soft spot for ska punk and melodic punk, and like I've just always loved them. But aside from that, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, I think they're one of the best bands that ever existed. My dog's name is Petty. I fucking love Tom Petty. I'd probably have to say that. He just has hit song after hit song.
Well, he's a hit guy. That's what he was. R.I.P. And I mean, Tom Petty. It's amazing to hear someone younger go to Tom Petty. It makes my heart shine as a man in his 40s. That someone younger than me would be like, yeah, Tom Petty. That's unbelievable. That's awesome.
Hell yeah, man. He's my favorite songwriter, I think.
Andrew.
Yeah, this is tough. I don't know if I have a specific favorite band. I mean, it would be pretty expected, but I mean, to be totally honest with you, I mean, growing up, I think Blink was the most influential band for me. I look at their earlier albums and I still play them all the time, and I really don't think without those that I would have written any of the music I have today, obviously. So definitely Blink-182. In terms of modern bands, I mean, I'll be perfectly frank. I feel like this band gets a negative stigmatism because of what they sounded like in 2008. But in terms of big rock heavy bands now, I think Bring Me the Horizon is one of the most exciting bands in rock music right now.
Awesome. Hey, it's your band, man. It's your favorite pick. So that's great. Different side of the spectrum, and that's what
Totally.
I love about music too. You can love so many different things. That's why when I introduced you, I don't like genre labeling because everything to me is just music. There is shit out there. I do label some stuff shit, but that's because I'm an opinionated asshole. But it really comes down to everything's music, man. It's our universal language. It's a thing that everybody can come around. We never met before, and we can sit here and talk about music all day. That's what music is. It's so awesome, and I don't think there's really any dividing. I went to an Andrew WK show. I'm not an Andrew WK fan by any means. I went to a show because I heard that it was just a sight to be seen, and it was awesome. And if you're standing in line seeing all the people that were going into that show, I literally have it in my top 3 greatest concerts of all time. And I was going to pre-pandemic about 7 to 9 concerts a month. And that's in my top 3 of all time because I was like, there's so many different people here, and you can see they're from so many different groups, and everybody is just having a great time out there. I was like, yes, this is what music is.
He rules.
It's awesome. It's funny. It sucks to say this, but in my personal experience, I found that nobody is more judgmental of your music taste than people who say they're big music fans. I try to respect all, and I like a ton of different kinds of music, but the only people who ever really give you weird looks or judge your music taste when they ask you a question like who's your favorite band or what was your favorite album last year are people are quote unquote music nerds. And it sucks to say that, but it's the truth.
It really is.
Yeah, we're in the pitchfork age where, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and they all stink. But and I also think it's very detrimental to some amazing things that are out there. I read a review on something and then I go listen to the album. Like, who the fuck is this asshole writing this column? How can you shit on something that somebody poured? I mean, I gotta say, probably 98% of the actual musicians out there pour their heart and soul and work hard over what they're doing. And for someone to shit on it is absolutely, to me, one of the most absurd things in the world.
Yeah, it's so subjective, even more so than other, even more so than movies or anything like that. It's I feel like music is particularly so subjective, and people get way more defensive about it than anything else. It's kind of weird.
I know.
Yeah, and that's where you lead to this next thing, and I think I already know TJ's answer, but guilty pleasures. And we do guilty pleasures on the show just because there is at some point where you had something you were listening to that you probably didn't want people to know you listened to it. And that is because of that subjective stuff, but you're afraid of what people are going to say. And now when you get older, you just own everything you do. But there still probably is something that could pop up on your playlist that you may feel as a guilty pleasure, or something that if it's Dancing Queen, but by ABBA, it could be that. But do you, TJ, besides NSYNC, do you have anything guiltier?
It's funny that this was the next question, because I was kind of gonna just have like a sidebar real quick about that, because I remember when I said I was like skateboarding, like playing punk rock, whatever. I remember getting to a point where I was like playing these songs like with my ska punk band, and like people, like especially in high school, you're like, oh, like your scene of music or whatever, like if you're a music kid. And I remember like hanging, not even like the people that I hung out with, it was just like this punk scene. Like I was embarrassed to at one point like start liking other kinds of music, almost like I wasn't like ashamed, but like I was really quiet about it. Like I didn't know where to go with my, like I wanted to write these songs, but like you start liking, you like start liking somebody and you want to start writing a song about it, and you're like, well, this will never fit in my punk rock band. Like, and then I start listening to Bright Eyes and shit, and like I can't, it doesn't really, I mean, there's some punk rock too, Bright Eyes, but it's hard to like make that transition when you're younger. And that was like my guilty pleasure, was like listening to soft music like Jack Johnson and stuff like that. But like now, I don't know, nothing's that guilty. I was actually just talking with my girlfriend about like what we thought were some of the best albums this year, and I forgot the Dua Lipa record came out this year. That whole thing is so good. It really, like the production on it, like I just appreciate good production, good songwriting, and it's like that's really good. I've been geeking out on like the Taylor Swift stuff, which I never thought I'd say. The Folklore record's like really good.
Very good.
I never listen. I'm a man in my 40s. I'm not supposed to be allowed to like Taylor Swift stuff, and I'm like, God damn it, it's good.
If you haven't watched the Long Pond sessions on Disney Plus,
dude,
of her playing that record, it's so good. Oh, you did finally watch it?
I did, yeah. The one with Bon Iver was so great.
Yeah, as soon as I watched it, I texted both those guys and being like, dude, you guys have to watch this. It's so good.
I love Taylor Swift, so no shame.
Especially seeing like somebody with such a high like production value in their live shows be like stripped down to her and two other people. It's like super cool to watch.
Yeah, well, sure. I think that's why I get it, and I think I respect it a lot too. And it's shame on me, but I have a lot of respect for artists who write their own music. Like when you're coming up with something, it's personal to you a lot of the times. There's a personal touch to it, a personal flair, and you can hear that. And in a lot of other pop songs, when you have like 5 different writers in a room, yeah, it's a good pop song. It's got its hooks, but like for some reason, maybe being old and judgmental, like I can read right through it and be like, yeah, it's okay. But that's why when Madonna got to a point in the late 90s, early 2000s, when she started doing her own stuff, stripped down, writing on acoustic guitar by herself, I was like, oh my God, I love Madonna. What the fuck is going on with me? But I was like, I related to it a little more.
Well, yeah, it's the personality. Like you said, when you have 5 people in a room writing a song, that's not in itself a bad thing. But when there's no like, I don't know, there's pros and cons, but I think when there's not a voice behind it, that's like a specific voice, it's hard to, for me personally, it's hard to attach myself to sometimes.
Yeah.
So who do you got for me, Andrew?
Yeah, I don't know like who I would consider a guilt. Like I listen to a lot of the same stuff. I mean, this is not guilty. I listen to a lot of movie scores. I'm almost more a fan of film than I am of music. So I'm like a huge nerd when it comes to movies and composers and things like that. But in terms of guilty pleasures in the music industry, I'm not guilty about this, but I am. I love Harry Styles' music. Both of the albums he put out, I think, are great. And I listen to them very frequently. But I guess it's not that guilty because it definitely has like a 70s rock kind of feel. But yeah, I listen to those a lot. I think they're awesome, and I hope no one gives them a negative stigmatism just because of Harry Styles and him being in one direction.
Oh man, he's real good.
He is. Yeah, he's great.
All right. I love where we went with that. So, I don't want to keep you guys a lot longer here. We're going to come in and end this show here, but how we end this show is with our weekly threes. You each get 3 artists or things you're listening to right now that you would like people to go out and listen to. And I know you're probably going to have to open a Spotify playlist like everybody does every single time.
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
I can go first if you want, Tej.
If you can, that'd be great. I got to think about it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, the albums I'm listening to a lot lately, 2 of them are new. One of them is not really, but the 2 new ones.
It doesn't have to be new. I have old ones all the time.
Yeah, the 2 new ones are the new Seaway record, which I think is one of the best like alt rock pop punk records to come out in quite a while. I feel like it's very underrated. I would highly recommend anyone to go check it out. I'm obsessed with it. I've been listening to the new Bring Me the Horizon record a lot, which I mentioned before, which I love. And then I've been listening to a lot of, it's kind of a throwback for me, of Modern Baseball. It was a band when I was in, I actually went to the same college as me. So like I have a lot of nostalgia for being back in college in Philadelphia in that band, but I've kind of been diving back into their discography lately, and they broke up a while ago, but
they did. I was lucky enough to see them.
Dude, I saw them live and I was in what year? Maybe like 2015. I was blown away. I've like genuinely never seen a crowd response in the way I saw one for that band. And they were like an opener. It was the people in the venue were going absolutely insane for them. It was awesome. It's a shame that they broke up, but
I didn't really listen to them that much, but I did see them one time with Ethan, and they were awesome. I think they played with I forget who they played with, but I can agree with that.
All right, you're up.
Shit. I'm frantically scrolling. One of the big ones that I've been listening to is this band called The Inevitables. Ex-members of a bunch of different bands, Real Big Fish, Big D and the Gids Table, Less Than Jake. They're kind of like, I want to say they're like kind of ska punk with like some like dub, but it was a Kickstarter project that they did that goes hand in hand with like a comic book and this whole like world that they created. It's like, I guess it's kind of nerdy when I explain it like that, but the record is so good and it like tells this whole story, and it's very
awesome.
Good.
We love nerdy here.
It's awesome. You should definitely check out The Inevitables. That's one of my favorite albums this year. New Less Than Jake record, also awesome. Silver Linings. That's expected answer. I've been listening to Motion City Soundtrack a lot again recently.
Amazing. That was one of the shows that got canceled on me this year.
Oh man, they're one of my favorite bands, and I always I don't want to say I always forget they're one of my favorite bands, but those first 4, all their albums are just so good. He's one of my favorite writers.
When it comes to them and Justin's writing, I literally, it's a band that I don't think a lot of people know, but anytime I've ever played it for somebody, I always get the, who's this? And I'm like, right? This is what I mean. You should listen to me when I tell you, hey, check out this band, instead of just being like, yeah, I'll get to it someday, and me having to play it for you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think all their collaborations with, like Commit This to Memory, doing it with like Mark Hoppus, and another one of my favorite bands, Limbeck. They're on.
Oh my God! Yes,
you know Limbeck.
Yes, I do.
They are.
I have an original vinyl from them from when I saw them live.
Oh, where'd you see them?
I saw them at the Bowery Ballroom in New York City.
Damn,
nice.
I missed that.
My favorite venue in the entire world.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. They're one of my favorite bands. I named my solo project Silver Things after them.
Nice.
Yeah, I love them. I've been listening to them too. That's on the list. Everybody should check them out if they haven't.
All right, awesome. So my 3 for this week are an older band, Creeper Lagoon, San Francisco, California band, rock band. Just if you want to chill, you want some awesome stuff, just dive deep into their catalog. They're just a great, amazing rock band at the time where bands were getting signed and bands were also getting thrown to the wasteland because they labels at the time were just signing people and never doing anything with them. But Creeper Lagoon's one of the good ones. Number 2 is Inside the Whale. They're an Australian, I guess we'll label emo band, but they're fucking unbelievable. They're just so amazing and been on a really crazy. There's an awesome music scene going on in Australia that I highly recommend.
Say that.
There's so much stuff that has come out of there in the past 5 years that I'm literally in my head. I'm like, I just want to move to Australia for a year and just watch all these bands progress, because what they're putting out is amazing. There's so many amazing bands. Last week I had a band from Australia on there too, and it's just been my kick lately. Like, I can't not find something that I like from Australia right now.
There's some really good like heavy music coming out from Australia too. There's a lot of bands.
Yeah, there was a band that their Closure in Moscow is another band that literally, if anybody was longing for At the Drive-In, that's another band, but they got their Australian twist on it. They're fucking crazy.
Got to check them out.
And my last but not least is Lydia, indie rock band from Arizona, late 2000s to 2010. Great stuff came from them. It's not the individual artist Lydia, who she's also amazing, but the band Lydia. Those are my 3 for this week.
Nice.
So why don't you, one of you, Andrew, TJ, however, let everybody know how to find your stuff, how to find out what you guys are doing, how to pay attention to when new stuff's coming out. Throw out all your stuff for everybody.
Well, don't Google us, because it's impossible. We've just found out.
We learned that recently. Last night, actually.
Yeah. We are on Instagram at weare_exit. Facebook is facebook.com/exit New England, I believe. Where else are we? If you search for Exit and you search the name of any of our songs, if you can remember them, Bad Intentions, it's probably the easiest one to find.
Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere on social media. I mean, though weare_exit is pretty much everywhere but Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever you prefer. And then just Exit on Spotify. But yeah, thank you so much for having us, man. This was a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate having you guys. Again, everybody, we are the Hidden Tracks podcast. We are finding the hidden gems out there for you guys to listen to. You can reach us at myhiddentracks.com. Our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. At myhiddentracks1 on Twitter, hiddentracks99 on Instagram, and hiddentracks on Facebook. Again, if you guys like what you're hearing from us, 5-star reviews out there, like, subscribe, please go out and listen to Exit. Find everything they've done. It is out there. If you're having problems finding it, you can contact me and I will send it directly to you. But TJ, Andrew, I really got to say this has been an awesome conversation. I've had so much fun today, and I appreciate what you guys do as artists, and I appreciate what you guys continue to do as musicians, and I look forward to great things from you guys coming up here in the future. But just thank you so much for being here. And yeah, as we usually end this, everybody go out and have a great time. Thanks, TJ and Andrew.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, man.